At what point do you look at a design and say, yeah, that's the one?
We conservatively did several hundred drawings, and some of them became the character that you understand now. I wanted Iden to go out into the world and everyone just look at her and accept her as, you know, somebody that's kind of always been there.
On the last episode of Behind the Cosplay, I spoke with the writer of Battlefront 2, Mitch Dyer, about who Iden Versio really is and what defines her. I found out what we had in common and where we differ, and that I probably shouldn't smile too much when I cosplay as her because she's not all that cheery. But if I'm going to make a costume that's accurate to how she looks and not just who she is, I've got to dive into something more tangible: Iden's character design. So when it came to designing Iden, where did you start?
Designing a new character like Iden in the Star Wars universe is kind of a huge undertaking. We started sitting down with the writers and the designers and the art directors at Lucasfilm, and we started looking around at what already existed in the galaxy, and we started picking out like real key pieces of DNA. At first blush, she looks like a TIE fighter pilot, but of course we have this great undertow of the fact that she's special forces and she's unique in the Empire. There isn't anything on her that's just been kind of arbitrarily added. Everything from like how she wears her pouches to her pauldron, where did this armor get fabricated, you know, how does she fit inside a TIE fighter? How does the droid attach to her back, you know, like accommodate her weapon but also be flexible enough for weapons that she picks up in the field. The devil is in the details.
How is Iden's actual personality reflected in the way that her armor looks?
The first thing we wanted to do was reflect the Inferno and our home planet of Vardos. We reflect that in her armor in a way that is kind of consistent with how the Empire do things. There's a moment where all the humanity and the expression and maybe some of the softness that Janina brought to the character, it goes away in a flash. And you couldn't do that without this stony face armor kind of coming down and just washing that humanity away.
How much of that did you do, like photogrammetry, scanning? Like, was that a really big part of putting Iden together?
When we found Janina, her performance was so natural and so emotional. We decided to like go to a sort of unprecedented level of detail with her. We did full photogrammetry on her face. There was a kind of studio-wide push to improve skin shaders and really bring that detail through.
She also has a bunch of hair. How does she hide that?
In a legacy of great Star Wars women, she does a lot of braiding and buns. You know.
I'm gonna have to build this. Like, how many pockets does she have, or like things to put gadgets or things that are used in gameplay? Like, how many bits are there?
She has a couple of elements that other TIE fighter pilots don't have. Her pouches are kind of tactical and tight to her body, which means that she can move around, she can hold the big weapons and the small weapons without kind of bumping into herself, basically. She also has this handy little nightstick that she deploys from the back of her armor.
What was the hardest thing to design, or the thing that took the most iterations?
The logo took a really long time and took a mammoth effort, because we're talking about a logo that now has to be worked into any Star Wars fiction that's created in a similar time period. So it had to be something that kind of stands the test of time and ticks all the classic design boxes. Every element of her design has been like carefully thought out with an entire team of extremely dedicated character artists, the entire backing of Lucasfilm, art directors from Lucasfilm, all contributing to this one new character that kind of strikes a chord with the fans and doesn't seem like something just invented for a video game.
It really quickly became clear that Chris and the entire design team at EA Motive care a lot about Iden and how she's represented. From top to bottom, her uniform represents her values. As a cosplayer, that does feel a little intimidating. I really don't want to screw this up. So I decided I'm going to head to Los Angeles to work with a professional costume designer to make sure Iden is as accurate as possible, and to get some help with the trickier parts of her design. All that on the next episode of Behind the Cosplay.